so excited about doing this Fireside Chat with you.
Thank
I
you.
love being here.
No, thank you for having me.
So, how long have you been here?
I have been officially here for a couple of months. My family moved down at the end of June, but I've been commuting back and forth since March, so about 6 months.
So, for those who may be unfamiliar with your background, tell us about where you're from and how you kind of grew up in the Target world.
Great, yeah. So we moved around a lot when I was young. By the time I graduated from high school, we moved 17 times. And a lot of that was driven. My dad was in the military when I was younger, and so we actually lived in the South for a couple of rotations, and then he worked for BNSF. So majority of what I call the formative years were in the Dakotas and Montana and Wyoming. And so I started working in retail right after college and ended up at Target in 1996. So I've been with Target for about 23 years, having different jobs in merchandising. I am a buyer and a merchandiser at heart, with a strong emphasis on home and apparel design, but also doing operational roles and doing a stint leading our global sourcing organization and spending lots of times overseas and living in Hong Kong for a little bit. So when Brian and John Mulligan, my boss at Target, talked to me about the opportunity to be the CEO of Shipt, the answer is immediately yes, a definitive yes. And when my next question is, but tell me again, where's the job? And they said, it's in Birmingham. And I said, is it really in Birmingham? And they said, it's really in Birmingham. You can go check it out. And so I came and checked it out on the weekend, and I can remember within the first few hours of driving around, calling my husband and saying, there's something here. This is pretty cool. I know Alabama wasn't on our list of places to go live, especially for a Sicilian who moved to the U.S. when he was 11. But he and Hogan came down the following weekend, and we fell in love.
What's been most surprising about Birmingham?
Gosh, a couple of things. So you hear about Southern hospitality, right? Just like you hear about Minnesota Nice. And let me tell you about Minnesota Nice. Minnesota Nice means I will give you directions to any place you need to find in Minneapolis, just not my home. Right? And that's real. But the Southern hospitality is so strong and alive, and I felt it immediately. Now I understand as the CEO of Shipt, you're gonna feel it, but what I was so grateful for was when I saw how it extended down to my son, who's a junior this year in high school, and that's a tough year to make a move, and how the neighborhood immediately, the kids in the neighborhood connected him, introduced him, invited him, embraced him, and that to me was just such a relief and so, awe-inspiring for me. So I think that's been one of it. But the other part about it is the renaissance and the emergence of tech, and what just a vibrant community Birmingham really is. I was, during that commuting time, I would go back to Target headquarters because my family was still in Minneapolis, and I'd be walking around Target's campus and smiling, and people would ask, like, what's it like? How do you like it? What's Birmingham really all about? And I was smiling so big, eventually Brian was like, Kelly, you gotta tone it down. I got way too many people asking about a transfer down to Shipt to Birmingham these days. So it's just, simply put, I love it. Doesn't mean that I think it's perfect or that there aren't opportunities, but overall, it has been such an amazing community to join.
So tell us about the leadership skills and experiences that you developed working in such a large company like Target. How does that inform the way that you're managing leadership?
Yeah, there was certainly a good base of development and learning that happened over my 23 years at Target, but it wasn't perfect. My education is incomplete, to say the least. So here's what I would say were some transferable skills. Working in consumer-facing retail for the last 20, 25 years, you've seen the ups and the downs, and that never so much are you tied to the economy and what's going on in Main Street than you are being a retailer. I don't care what size you are. And so you learn how to thrive when conditions are good and when conditions are not so good. You learn how to develop a complex complex business, and today business is global. So even working for a company that is based solely in the US, you are running a global business, especially when you think about the amount of sourcing and manufacturing for Target that happens overseas. You lead teams that are multi-generational, where it was nothing for me to have somebody, a Gen X on my team, a baby boomer on my team, a millennial, and now a Gen Z. And how they approach and view their employer is not the same. How they approach life is not the same. And really understanding what are those nuances and differences, and how do you understand to an individual level what is their motivation and what gets them out of bed every day to come and work for the company I'm at and for me as a leader. So a lot of that is transferable. What's been a learning, learning on the fly for me is going from leading a traditional pipeline business, we buy, move, and sell goods to the consumer, to a platform business where we are connecting members with shoppers, and you are providing a service on that. And the tech that goes with that, and navigating in a tech environment. In retail, I'm often one of many women in the room. In tech, not so much. It has been, Target, I thought, was a young company where the majority of my peers were younger than me or equal, but the people I led, they're young. Man, young takes on a whole new definition here at Shipt and working in a startup culture. And while I am very comfortable with transparency and the concept of fairness, it's radical transparency and radical fairness in the startup community, and that's been a learning journey for me, and one where I've made some missteps, and it hasn't been an elegant learning curve to say the least. But I think just being open and honest to the team, and I'm naturally curious, so I will ask a million questions, and it's to learn. And when I'm asking those questions, it highlights how much I don't know about Shipt, especially in the beginning. And what I didn't know could fill a warehouse, but really not being afraid of those ego-threatening moments, leaning into them and asking the question in service of learning and being a better leader.
So speaking about culture, so earlier this year you had your Beyond Summit, your Shipt Shopper Summit, and I had the privilege of attending. Brittany invited me. It was at the Alabama Theater, right? And that's when I got a chance to first meet you. I was blown away by the energy that was in that room. Can you speak to like, why do you do that? And like, these people come from all over the world, all over the country to come to Birmingham. So speak a little bit about how that informs the culture that Shipt is doing.
Yeah, so Anthony, I was blown away too. I gotta be honest, it was amazing. Shipt is a company that is founded on people first, and very much an attitude of making our members' lives better, giving back the gift of time so that they can spend that time on the things that matter most. And we are very intentional in hiring shoppers that have that mentality of bringing the magic, of creating moments where you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how much this just helped my life. And many of us in this room have a memory of what it was like the first time you had Shipt delivered your groceries, and how life-changing that can be. And so just like many of our members are evangelists, so are the shoppers. And this event, Beyond, was one of the first, from what we can tell, it was the first in the gig economy, where you had gig economy employees pay their own ways to come to an event to learn more about the headquarters and be part of the feedback loop of the business itself. What, from their point of view, what we at headquarters could be doing to make the business stronger, listening to their feedback, really probing and asking for it, but also sharing out. We heard you, and here are some of the changes we are making. Now, prior to Shipt, I led hardlines at Target, so think big brands, Google, Apple, Samsung, brands like that. And had an opportunity to often sit in Apple's audience as Tim Cook or Johnny Ives would announce a new feature, and the crowd goes wild. And this is not an over-exaggeration, sitting in that crowd when we announced that yogurt would now be put on the app and dairy, not snacks and beverages, the crowd went wild like it was an iPhone announcement, right? And just that level of of enthusiasm of, we heard you shoppers, it is a pain to have yogurt placed under a snack. When it's in the dairy aisle, we made that change. That alone just generated so much goodwill and belief in Shipt as the employer of choice. And the gig economy is not going away. And so we are competing, not just for members, but for shoppers. And our shoppers have many different opportunities to work for other companies. We want them to choose Shipt, and therefore it's important that we create an amazing job that's got a lot of value for them.
So I think most of us here in Birmingham remember the day when we got the news that Target was purchasing Shipt for over $500 million, which I think we were all excited about it for like 2 seconds. And then we kind of like, wait, does that mean Shipt is moving? Because Target's not based here. And I think we felt a deep sigh of relief to know that Shipt was going to stay here and create over 800 jobs right here in Birmingham. Can you speak to the importance of that commitment by both Shipt and Target to keep Shipt here and to contribute to job creation?
Yeah, absolutely. Shipt is not moving. Target, myself, are very committed to Shipt staying here in Birmingham for all the reasons that you guys know. It's a great community. But here's the thing that I want to share out, and it kind of goes back to some of the things we talked about earlier. It does not cease to amaze me the level of contribution this community gives to its businesses, to its citizens, to its communities. Whether it was the opportunity, and Dr. that I had to meet with you and your colleagues last week, going over to UAB and learning more about that institution and what a great institution it is, the diversity and the talent that you've got in your upcoming classes. Made me realize what an amazing opportunity it will be to work closely with you to make sure that when you've got students graduating, that they consider Shipt as a great employment proposition for them. Whether it's having the opportunity to be part of the next Leadership Birmingham class, and I'm incredibly humbled by that opportunity. We had a kickoff a couple weeks ago. We got our first weekend event this weekend. And just reading on the history of Birmingham and Alabama, and it's part of the story you just don't hear on a regular basis. Whether it's having the honor of working with Brittany and seeing firsthand the work that she does for Birmingham Bound, and the companies that are moving and intentionally making the choice to become part of Birmingham's business community. I think we're up to 9 right now, and that number 10, and that number keeps growing. It's moments like those and countless others that just reinforces to me and to Target how important Birmingham is to the future of Shipt success.
Does Shipt still feel like a startup?
Some days it does. Yeah, I gotta be honest, some days it does. And it is, and I think we're at this junction in our age. We're a 5-year-old company that is just pivoting from one phase of business to the other. And as I think about the future of grocery delivery, there are many numbers out there, and I'll quote this one. The Food Marketing Institute has projected that 20% of all grocery purchases will be done online by 2025, and that equates to $100 billion just in the U.S. That's a sizable number where I want to make sure, and my leadership team and the entire team at Shipt wants to ensure we are well positioned with a strategic and competitively differentiated strategy to take full advantage of that opportunity. And so the capabilities, the strategies, the things that we did to get us to where we are today in those first 5 years, that's not the same capabilities and strategies that will take us into the future. And so it's reimagining that, but knowing at our core value, we are a people-first company that is here to give time back to our members' lives and really, ease what they've got to do every single day.
So I'm going to open up for questions in just a minute. I have like maybe 1 or 2 more questions, but I want to save plenty of time for Q&A. So when we think about the future of Shipt here in Birmingham, you guys are going to be moving a couple blocks over pretty soon, and Wells Fargo Tower is now going to be called Shipt Tower. Can you speak to the future of Shipt here and what that's going to mean to this community?
Yes, yeah, so we are already in the process of moving into that building as we grow our teams. We outgrew the space at the John Hand building, so we will continue to have offices there, but also over in the Wells Fargo building. And it just continues to show our commitment to Birmingham, in addition to how we are growing our businesses and the increase in people that we need to run the business. And it's across all functions, if you will. Certainly a lot of those new hires will come out of tech, but they will also come from marketing, from HR, and from our experience team also.
All right, so we have an eager hand over here, so love to get your question.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for, as a shareholder, a new all-time high. I have a two-part question. Your delivery vehicles leave the store, quote, full. Do they return, quote, empty?
Today they do.
Okay,
But
so
I don't
here's
know
my
if
other
that's-
part.
Yeah.
Target is one of the few who will recycle glass. As a consumer, can I pay you to take my glass back to the store once you've delivered my groceries to me?
Yeah.
I'd be happy to pay you to do that.
Great. That's a great idea, and it's ideas like that are how we have to start to reimagine the future and determine what else are we going to do to make sure that Shipt is the brand of the company that members want to use for all of their needs. So we are very open to ideas and actively seeking out and kind of assessing each idea. What's the value it will derive and what's the trade-off of doing that idea over a different idea?
Thanks. Yes, sir.
I was just wondering, on your shoppers, how do you screen them, or do you screen them for their knowledge of picking out produce? And do you have some kind of a program to teach them, about how to pick out good produce?
Yes.
That's an important question, because I'm thinking about my tomatoes and grapes.
Yes. So we'll get back to that. I want to hear feedback. We absolutely have a program to screen our shoppers, and it's a multi-step program. And we are looking for an attitude of what I call servant leadership, of really a willingness to go above and beyond to get exactly the right order delivered to the member. And that is one of good communication up front, of knowing, does this member, do they prefer the green bananas because it's going to be a while before they use them? Or do they do a couple of orders a week and therefore they need those bananas yellow and ripe and ready to go for tomorrow's lunch? It is a constant feedback loop between the members and the shoppers. And we've got high standards that they are delivering, and it shows through their ratings that they're delivering an amazing experience on a consistent basis. And to do that, we certainly give them training to onboard them into being a Shipt shopper. But if we see that they're not quite where we expect them to be on their delivery of said experience, then we'll work with them to elevate that experience also.
Because of your excitement and smile, you've also mentioned having to grow and hire additional leadership. I'm sure some of that will come from Birmingham, but I imagine you have to recruit other leaders from out of the state to join the team. How is that going, and where do you see how much talent would be important?
Yeah, no, great question. I believe, as a leader, I believe emphatically on creating diverse and inclusive cultures, and part of that diversity is a diversity of thought. And my intention is absolutely not to create a Target takeover for many different reasons, but one of those, and one of the biggest ones, is if you're coming from Target, you know what I know, and we don't need a lot of us around the table. So we need leaders from different companies, different industries sitting across and around that table. As any new CEO does, when they are first new to a company, they assess the talent they have, especially in the C-suite, and determine if they feel that talent is well suited for the future of where their vision for the company is. And in doing that, I found that there were a couple of the leaders that I didn't think were going to be a good fit for the future of Shipt. So we do, in fact, have some key open positions, 3 open positions in our C-suite that we're actively recruiting for. Now, I set out with the hope of getting some of those positions in Birmingham. And to be clear, it's a CTO, a Chief Tech Officer, a Chief Product Officer, and a Chief Operating Officer. And as you know, many of you know, we also have offices in San Francisco, and we are committed to San Francisco offices also. It has been harder to recruit talent to Birmingham based on just reputational. I understand that once you get talent into Birmingham, and I'm one of those, you see all the good things that Birmingham has to offer, but you have to get past that. You have to tell the story. You have to show them the education system, and you have to talk to them about Birmingham's pretty progressive for what reputationally you might see from Alabama. So it is a journey, and while I may not get all of these positions filled in Birmingham, they will get filled. They just may not move here. My goal is going to be for when I need a succession plan, and it's that next round of leadership, that I've got a good succession plan in place of leaders that are here in Birmingham, so we've got a balanced C-suite that are living in both cities.
Chuck?
Kelly, thank you for being here. I wonder if you could speak a little bit more about scaling up the company and expanding markets. It's a pretty competitive business now. Everybody knows Amazon, Whole Foods, and you've got so many local competitors too. What are your biggest challenges and how are you addressing them? What's your trajectory like?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say this. Our point of differentiation, the reason you pick Shipt over all the other opportunities out there is because of our shoppers and that relationship the shoppers develop with the members. And that is like bloody knuckles, defend that and continue to protect that at all costs. Shipt started out with a strategy that was to go in mid-tier size markets. So the Nashvilles, the Birmingham, the Charlottes of the world, and where we've gone in first to those kind of mid-tier markets, we've got a really strong market share. We were more hesitant, or we put down in a lower priority, getting into the big urban areas, New York, LA, San Francisco, Boston, those parts of the world, and of the U.S. market. And as you can imagine, those are tough markets for a number of reasons. The retail formats are smaller, therefore you've got less of a SKU count. The shopping pattern of the demographics in the cities looks different. You don't just get in a car and deliver stuff. Those also happen to be the markets that Instacart prioritized and went after first, and so they've got a very strong partnership in there. So when we went national and went from 50 to 86 markets to over 250, we took it very much as a peanut butter spread approach. It was about scale and growing volume. Now that we're there, we're going to want to continue to grow and become even more covered throughout the U.S., but we have to be much more surgical in our approach to the markets and really understand how you win in Boston and New York is going to look different than how we're going to win in Detroit, Tampa, Nashville, etc. So that's number one. Secondly, the barrier to entry to deliver groceries or do deliveries in an hour, that barrier is low. So we're going to need to continue to create differentiated business models that provide unique experience for the U.S. consumer. And I would say the last thing is we are going to want to continue to ensure that we are a great partner to the other retailers out there. So for example, there's two big ecosystems right now, Walmart and Amazon. We are the answer to the retailers that really compete against those two big mammoths. I think they're big competitors. I'm so respectful of what Amazon and Walmart does. They make it tough to compete against them. So if you're a retailer or a CPG company, your options are to build your own supply chain that's got delivery in hours or to buy one. And both of those propositions are incredibly complex and expensive. Your third option is to ignore it and not offer that type of convenience for your consumer, and you do that at your own peril. Or the fourth option is to partner with somebody like Shipt, and we believe there's an opportunity for another ecosystem out there.
You said earlier that gig economy is not going anywhere. I think that's very true. But it's such a shift in how employees, the employee experience and having benefits. Do you see any pressure from your shoppers to have a different structure where they're able to get health care or different benefits? And do you see that changing in the future?
Yeah. To a certain degree, every employer who's employing in the gig economy will feel that pressure. What I would say sets Shipt apart and why we feel it a lot less is because of our employment proposition. We are giving our shoppers a great opportunity to make money, and whether that is to save for a college education for their children or themselves, whether that is to plan a dream wedding or a dream vacation, or whether that's for them to start their own business. We offer the flexibility and the pay benefits to make that all work. But even more than that, we provide community. We provide them with a relationship, a human connection, whether that be with the member that they are working with, or equally important, our Shipt community. We've got deep, robust Shipt communities in all of our big metro areas, whether it's virtually via Facebook or in person as they get together in these communities. And I believe strongly that if you're just working on a proposition that's pay alone, nobody wants that. But if it is about a job that you get value of through human connection, whether it be with your coworkers or the people that you serve, those are the moments why you pick a place to work.
What are you most optimistic about going forward? And or what keeps you looking at?
Yeah.
That both could be the same things.
Yeah, no, that's good. A lot of times they are. Here's what I would say. I am optimistic about Shipt's right to win in this growing, in the grocery business and the delivery business here in the U.S. I'm very optimistic on that. We're coming from a place of strength, and that strength has a foundation built on Shipt's culture. Whether it's our internal culture here at headquarters or the culture of our shoppers, it is a people first and a very people-centric culture. And to me, what I have found, when you're in a business, it doesn't matter if the business is on an upward trajectory or a downward. If the culture's not right, if the culture is broken, it's an uphill battle, and that is not the case at all for Shipt. And I'm excited about the business opportunity. What keeps me up at night is this. Having now been in Birmingham for 6 months and really getting to know many of you in the community of Birmingham, I understand the importance that Shipt plays to the economic development of Birmingham, to the community, as part of the Renaissance and as part of the emerging tech scene that is here. So I'm humbled and grateful for this opportunity to lead a great company and an even better team, but it's not lost on me the importance of Shipt and what it plays in Birmingham. And I just want to make sure every night that I go to bed, am I doing everything to do right by Birmingham, by Shipt, and by its employees? I'm up for the challenge.
Lastly, we know that we're all UAB fans.
Don't make me do this.
But I know that everybody knows that Brittany is a huge Auburn fan. She hasn't tried to pull you up to the dark side.
No, I stand by my answer whenever I am asked, Alabama or Auburn. I simply say yes. Yes. But if you ever want to have a college hockey conversation, then I'm going to stand by my alma mater of University of North Dakota.
I think that is fair, and I think that's a great place to stop this chat. So, John, please join me in giving a hand.